We have a wonderful short presentation for your learning and viewing pleasure. My name is Philip Browning, Area Resource Specialist for Sublet and Sweetwater Counties, and this is Linda Halleck, Area Resource Specialist for the Bighorn Basin.
Hi everyone. Today we're going to take a look at the pre-meeting expectations listed on the DDD team meeting guidelines. We attend a lot of team meetings and we have the opportunity to see what works and what doesn't. We want to help teams be better prepared. This is a copy of the team meeting guidelines which can be found on the DDD website.
It's important for all members of the team, the case managers, service providers, the guardians, and participants to know what needs to be accomplished prior to the team meeting. We're going to share some of the tricks of the trade utilized by successful teams throughout the state. Some of these ideas you're already incorporating, some you may want to adopt, so let's get started with the team's responsibilities in preparing for the annual plan of care meeting. And we'll mention the differences for the 6-month review meeting as we go.
Case managers are responsible to make sure the annual plan of care meeting is held in a timely manner so the plan can start on the designated start date. Guardians need time to make informed choices regarding the providers they want on the plan of care. Providers need ample time to organize the information they'll be bringing to the meeting. We're going to use a timeline for demonstration purposes.
Let's say the plan of care start date is December 1st. The case manager needs to make sure guardians and or participants are supplied with the roster of the current service providers before the meeting date is set. The guardian needs time to interview other providers and make a selection. The guardian and or the participant needs to inform the case manager of their selection so the providers can be invited to the meeting. A good time to make sure the guardian and participant has the roster and choice form is during a monthly home visit. As you can see from the timeline, the roster is provided a full 60 days before the meeting date.
Some case managers are probably shaking their heads saying, no way. But remember, the team meeting is not to be scheduled until after choices of providers are made by the guardian and or the participant. Take a look at the team meeting checklist under pre-meeting expectations. The second box says, when choice decisions are made, the ISC schedules meeting. It's the responsibility of the case manager to give the guardian and participant the opportunity to make an informed choice. It's the guardian's or participant's responsibility to exercise that choice by checking out other providers or services and informing the case manager so those people are invited. If no changes are being made, great, but if there are, this gives everyone time to plan.
We're stressing this point because there are too many times where guardians and or participants are presented with choice just as the meeting is beginning or sometimes after the fact. In order to alleviate any confusion about offering informed choice, make sure choices are offered before the meeting is scheduled and that the form is signed at the time the choice is offered. The technical checklist, which is filled out by the ISC and sent in with the plan of care, states the choice form is to be signed and dated on or before the meeting date, but the choice needs to be made before the meeting is scheduled.
Okay, now the meeting needs to be held 30 days from the plan date as per the waiver rules. So that means the meeting is to be scheduled approximately 60 days from the plan start date. It's important for guardians to understand that the meeting has to be scheduled this far in advance. So please work cooperatively with your case manager to schedule the meeting and make every effort to keep that date. Once the meeting date and time are established, the case manager sends notices to the participant, the guardian, providers, the ARS, and anyone else the guardian specifies. Remember, the notice must include the IBA, the individualized budgeted amount. It's very helpful to have the address of the meeting, the case manager's name and contact information, and the team members' names and services listed as well. The notice you're looking at is a good example to follow.
Once the notice is sent, the case manager will summarize the incident reports, seizure logs, behavior plan information, and current services and progress to share at the team meeting.
So providers, please make sure your documentation is current and sent to the ISC by the 10th of each month.
The case manager will also be collecting information for the About Me section, updating medical and medication information prior to the meeting. Then, at the meeting, more time can be focused on developing objectives and schedules and strategies for the following year or updating at the 6-month review.
The providers are also expected to prepare in advance. Be prepared to discuss units and rates, progress on goals and objectives, concerns, strategies, what works, what hasn't worked, your successes, and bring the current units used and any documentation that the case manager may not already have. It's good practice to write a summary to bring to the meeting so you don't forget something, or you can make sure the ISC has that summary if you're unable to attend the meeting, so your input can be shared and used in developing that plan of care.
Guardians and participants need to prepare as well. Be prepared to discuss your needs and wants for the following year. Write down your ideas and bring them to the meeting. Make sure you have completed the About Me section of the plan so that ISC can share it with the team. It's always great to have completed the medical and medication information prior to the meeting so it can be reviewed quickly. Many guardians keep a calendar of appointments throughout the year. Some guardians have developed manuals and journals containing all kinds of wonderful information about the participant, so the providers will know as much as possible about the person they're serving. If it's a 6-month review, give the team feedback about how you're doing and what's working or not working for you. Team meetings can be a time where the team can celebrate successes in a person's life and progress towards their goals. This can be a time to build unity and really focus your energy on helping and supporting the person you're serving and each other. Team members may have photos or stories to share specific to activities or events in the participant's life. It doesn't have to be the drudgery of reading a plan of care cover to cover. Maybe someone could even plan to bring snacks. To keep the meeting successful and productive, it is in the preparation.
Remember, you can access the team meeting guidelines on our website, and you can always contact us by calling your local ARS or the waiver specialist. Our contact information is also on the website, or ask your ISC for the contact information. They'll be happy to provide it.
We want to thank you for joining us. We hope the information has been helpful, and we wish you success.
As an area resource specialist, one of my duties with the Developmental Disabilities Division includes attending various team meetings. Priorities for area resource specialist attendance at a team meeting are initial meetings, transition meetings, annual meetings, special meetings called by any team member or by request by the waiver specialist, and 6-month review meetings. This DVD training material has been developed to assist teams in developing and holding annual and 6-month review meetings for participants. It is believed that the target audience for this training is the participant, the ISC, parents and guardians, program supervisors and direct support staff, and any person who is a member of the individual participant's team. Please remember that the team can often include other family members and friends and professionals who are not necessarily waiver providers. For example, school therapists, DFS workers, and DVR workers. Needless to say, we cannot possibly review here the entire process of the team meetings. We are also aware that many team meetings can last 2 hours or more. We have developed this DVD with these learning objectives in mind. In this way, each person can refer back to the complete rules, find ways to prepare for meetings, to incorporate the participants' needs and desires, and to utilize a variety of formal and informal assessment materials in order to write and monitor an effective plan of care for the participant. As defined in Wyoming Medicaid Rules, Chapters 41, 42, and 43, Section 7CI, the Individually Selected Service Coordinator, or ISC, is required to schedule and facilitate these meetings. This includes notifying all plan of care team members and the Division Area Resource Specialist at least 30 days in advance. Division requirements also mandate that the participant's individualized budgeted amount be included on this notice. The team meeting guidelines also provide specific pre-meeting tasks for the ISC and the specific order of how the annual meeting will be conducted. The ISC is at a home visit with Andy and his mom the month prior to his scheduled meeting. Here are the pre-meeting tasks that have been completed. The current provider rosters were provided to Mrs. Doe and Andy a couple of months ago, so they would have time to make decisions about providers they want to have at this meeting. Mrs. Doe and Andy made their choice of providers known to the ISC and signed the notice of choice form. The ISC scheduled this meeting, notifying providers and the ARS according to the rules. Let's listen to how this process benefited Andy and his mom in the selection of services and service providers during the home visit.
One of the things I wanted to talk with you about today was your choice of services and providers for Andy's annual plan of care coming up. If you have had a chance to make your selections, I can make sure to contact and invite those persons to this meeting.
You know, I really started thinking after one of our last home visits when we talked about Andy wanting an apartment of his own one day soon. And right after that, Andy got bronchitis. And I had to take him to the doctor and make sure he took his medication correctly.
The doctor did?
Andy and I, hold on a minute, Andy and I talked, and we think he could benefit from maybe having some skilled nursing on his plan so that he can begin to learn to do this by himself.
Yeah, we met with several nurses, and I like Nurse Pain-Free the best. And you know, I still want to work with what's her name? Gouda, Kara, and Vera, and of course, Missy Efficient. It's a case manager.
Okay, I will make sure Nurse Payne knows when your meeting is scheduled so she can also attend. I have already talked with Kara, Gouda, and Vera. Kara and Gouda will be at your meeting. Vera can't be there, but she's given me a written report that I'll share at that meeting.
During this home visit, the ISC also finalized the About Me with Andy and his mom that they had been working on. The ISC also gave copies of the About Me to each of Andy's service providers and asked that the completed forms be returned to her the month prior to the meeting. She can now put all this information together to present to the team at the meeting, making any minor changes as needed. The ISC and Mrs. Doe have also reviewed the demographics page for any changes. They've updated Andy's medical page regarding doctor's appointments and medications, and the equipment page for any additions or notation of any repairs that might be required. As we sit in on Andy's IPC meeting for a few minutes, watch how all of this preparation work helps to assist Andy in being able to advocate for some of the things he would like in his plan this year and to help the team identify and maintain focus and direction.
Now that we have reviewed Andy's recent psychological evaluation and ICAP, there are a couple of programmatic assessments that providers have been able to complete, and I would like them to report on their findings. Here is the assessment that Vera provided regarding respite services. She would like the team to know that she has seen Andy's home safety skills improve greatly and feels that with a few specific rules, such as not using the oven or stovetop, and have an emergency phone list posted by the phone, that Andy can begin staying home by himself for perhaps up to 4 to 6 hours. As we have gone through Andy's About Me, Kara has been taking notes about what Andy has said was important to him and what others have identified as some needs he has. We have certainly discovered that swimming is very important to you. I would also like to make sure we incorporate this activity in some way. The needs that have been presented in preparation for living in his own apartment are: 1, ensuring safety and the ability to stay home by yourself for 4 to 6 hours.
I can do that.
Learning how to begin managing your money.
I keep $5 with me all the time.
Yeah. And learning how to identify when you are ill and taking medications correctly. I think all these can be incorporated, and we will definitely add swimming to your schedule and look at the units and rates of his services to see how we can include skilled nursing on his plan.
Who's going to take me swimming?
We'll work on it.
Mom?
Well, I think probably, Andy, you would go with your day rehabilitation staff because that would be part of your schedule. Does that sound like something you'd like to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, Andy and I have been working on math skills for his current objective, and he's now able to add and subtract various combinations of numbers up to 500, and this objective will be completed. I've noticed, however, that Andy has been interested in learning how to be more responsible for his money and his money transactions.
Yeah, I keep $5.
He does, and in an assessment he and I did a couple of weeks ago, I believe this is definitely something that he can learn to do. I would like to make his formal objective one of learning to make purchases and count change back correctly. I feel that a realistic goal for completion of this will be that Andy can make a $5 purchase and count change back correctly every time by the end of his plan year. And I'd like the team to also know that Andy no longer needs a job coach at work anymore. He has learned not only to complete his assigned task, but he's also learned to go to his supervisor to ask for instructions when he's finished his job ahead of time, or if he's even having a problem with a particular task. So good job, Andy.
Yeah, I've been there a year.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, with me, Andy has been asking a lot about getting his driver's license, and we've been working on some community safety skills, walking through town.
Can we go driving?
Well, we have to work on some other safety skills first, because when you've been working with me, I've assessed that you aren't recognizing when the light is green or red, so you've had a difficult time.
There's green and red lights.
Yes, there is. So you've had a hard time distinguishing that, and so that's made your goal hard to accomplish. And so I talked to your mom, and she took you in and had your eyes evaluated, and we found out that you were colorblind. So with that information, I've been able to adjust the way that we are working on your objective and to include some techniques so that we're going to learn on the position of the lights.
So I can learn to drive.
Hopefully, eventually, if we get this objective done. But we're going to work on learning the position of the lights so that he can recognize when to go and stop. And we're going to set that objective at 100%. So we're going to hope that you get 100%. And I know that's pretty high, but it's very important if you want to access the community by yourself that we get 100% on that objective, okay?
Okay.
I think you could do it.
Note the assessments that this team presented. Not only were the psychological evaluation and ICAP discussed as required, but each provider was able to report on assessments that they had accomplished throughout the plan year. At this time, the team has been able to identify how to incorporate swimming, which is a priority for Andy, into one of his schedules. The team has also learned that Andy is colorblind, and his formal objectives will concentrate on money skills, community access safety skills, and learning about his illnesses and medications. The team also has gone through the plan of care to update and discuss the following: the demographics page updated, functional limitations, supports and supervision pages for residential and day habilitation services, seizure pages, behavior supports, rights and rights restrictions. Now let's see how the team can finalize and complete Andy's plan of care and develop the pre-approval form.
Missy, I realize that we've utilized all of Andy's IDA for the past plan year with the current services. And Andy and I were wondering if